off this shit. Leonard, you know what it is. Hey, Ham Solo. It's time, baby. Low. Let's turn out we do. Hey. They said we said we in. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we gone. We say that you heard right. 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 They said we said we in. They said we said we on. They said we said strong. They said we said go. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard. Man, I swear that it's imminent. I've been going so hard on my penmanship. About to go in and buy me a wheel. And I pull that shit fresh off the dealership. I can leave you on red like an Xbox. Got me laughing at you like you Red Fox. Got you chasing Hot Wheels like a Matchbox. EA running the game and it don't stop. Super cold like I'm playing for Blizzard. Cut you all in my sights like Red Dead Redemption. Never gonna slip on my pimpin'. Better get out my way, bitch, I'm on a mission. Really ain't no competition. I'm steady grilling opposition. I'm get up and ready to win. They can play it how they play, but fuck what you say. I'm getting this money today. Last of us like a dying breed. Down the ride like a noble steed. Fatality moves, I make you bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we in. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we gone. We say that you heard right. 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 They said we said we in. They said we said we on. They said we said strong. They said we said go. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right.
No scope headshots.
That is enough. That's enough. That's enough. I think we're good to go. All right. Anyways, what's going on, you guys? I'm kicking it. It's your boy Ham Solo, kicking it on another Friday. Bull sitting with Matt. Cozy is finally back, even though she can't get into her Twitter. She had to remind me today, and I'm happy that she did. And then shout out to Mental 9R as well. One thing I have to go on ahead and get off my back right now is actually the thing that I want to get off of my back is this chair. I bought this chair the other day. And I bought it because it felt kind of nice in the moment. And my wife was kind of like, get that chair. Because we were in IKEA and IKEA sucks. IKEA really sucks. And we were both tired. And like, so when I sat down, I think any chair would have felt good.
Oh yeah.
At that point. So I sat in the chair and I was like, this feels great. And then I'm like, man, after a couple of hours, this really sucks. This chair stinks. And I gotta sit here with you guys in this chair. So and shut your mouth, put that ball away, Cozy, before I kick it from under you. I don't want to see that right now. I'm mad at my chair.
No, people think I'm joking when I say I'm sitting on like a $10
Those
yoga
are pretty
ball.
comfortable to sit on, though. Actually, they're not too bad. Actually, as long as they have enough air. If you sit in one that doesn't really have enough air, it actually feels like.
I pump mine up every couple of months.
Yeah. Yeah, they naturally will lose a little bit of air depending on the weather. What's cracking, Web Day? Boyd Lock, Stanley Francois, Sea Wolf Swim. What's cracking, you guys? Chat is open. Good to see all of y'all. Good to see everybody on the panel today. Yesterday, I had a surprise interview, which I was pretty happy to do. Matt showed up like hell yeah, watching all of this.
I saw that.
He tuned in randomly. Whatchamacallit? I seen Cozy tuned in a little later into the show. It was pretty cool. I had Mint Blitz come on yesterday for Behind Them Six. Got to interview him and talked about his time with Halo and coming up in that scene and all the trick shots and stuff like that he's worked on. And it was a pretty interesting story that he had. If you missed the episode, you can check that out. That is on demand at our channel here, TSWS Gaming. Go watch that at any time. It's a little over an hour long, so not too bad. anyways, moving forward a bit, let's go on ahead and go around the panel and see how everybody's been up to. I'm going to go with Cozy first because you're going to be the one that has the most to say, seeing that you've been not with the show for the last couple weeks. The last week was because you lost access to a certain account. You also lost your phone while you were out doing, whatever it is.
Drunken hijinks!
You lot lizards like to... No, I'm just kidding. You ain't know.
Did you say lot lizard?
Anyway,
Oh my
I said lot lizard. But you out there doing your cosplay thing, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Going ahead and tell us how that whole experience and everything like that went, because that's kind of interesting. I'm going to be going to what is it called? Fan Expo here in Denver, which is like a big kind of con here for Denver. So I want you to tell me what your experience was kind of like, because you actually do cosplay. I don't do that.
It's an insanely fun
and you
experience.
actually will like make stuff for it.
Yeah, it's an insanely fun experience. I recommend everyone go to at least one. So the way I do it is I have a few cosplays that I keep in rotation. I insert more in, and depending on the weather, it depends on what I'm wearing. Like this one is it's called Colossal Con. There are 4 locations actually. So I go to the original one, which is in Ohio. There's one in Pennsylvania, there's one in Texas, and there's one in Missouri. They're all at an indoor-outdoor water park. And I know the one in Ohio, it's always cold. But you're never wearing enough. I mean, at least I'm never wearing enough. But it's a fun experience. You're all there to party, dress up. My favorite thing I think this time was I encountered someone that I actually follow, and I was like, "You look familiar." And then I was like, "TikTok," and she was like, "TikTok," and we interact on TikTok, or I haven't been on TikTok in ages, but we interact on TikTok, and it was impressive to see someone who I followed. But overall, cons are what you put into them. Like, some people are entirely about the panels. Some people are about the cosplay. Some people are about getting pictures. So there's a little bit of something for everyone in the fandom. There's an entire game room. Like, if you like games, they have an entire room just for games. And even while there, you can set up groups where you're just like, come here and meet up with me, and we'll play. So there's lots of going on. Also lots of partying. Rest in peace to my phone. It met an unceremonious end in some jungle juice. Am I echoing?
There is an echo, yes.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Is it? Can't be me.
What?
It's going through my headphones.
Okay.
No, I was hearing an echo somewhere.
It's probably me. I'm fixing it.
Okay. But yeah, I recommend everyone go to one. But if you live in the U.S. and there's one you're going to go to, I'm going to recommend Dragon Con, because that is my favorite one. It's literally got something for everyone. But yeah, that's what I've been preparing for, and that's what I'm going to. Dragon Con, I go to that one every year, and I'm really good about being on top of everything. But yeah, my phone, I was like pouring and drinking, and I already had a shot. And someone asked me, was your phone in your hand or was your phone in a pocket when you dropped it? And I was like, that's a good question, because if it was in my hand, it was in the hand I had a cup in. And if it was in a pocket, it would have actually not been in a pocket, but in my bra, which I don't have real estate to do the whole thing where you secure your phone down there. So either way, it was someplace unsecure. I was pouring, leaning over, and my phone was missing half the back, so it died. It died immediately. It was terrible, and I was like, it was day 2. And the thing is, at the moment, I was like kind of too drunk to care, but then when I had to go home, I was like, oh crap, that's where everything is. I didn't have my ID.
Yep.
I didn't have my insurance. I was living dangerously driving home.
Damn.
But it was fun. 10 out of 10 would do it again.
Good.
All right. So good that you had a good time, obviously. Have you been playing anything recently at all?
With the announcement of Grounded 2, I've kind of dove back into Grounded. Started a new world. Been just playing through that. But yeah,
You know, I've never played that
I'm about
game,
to
really.
I've just downloaded Alters.
Okay,
yeah, I
well
heard
we'll get into Alters, Grounded, and like Grounded 2 because I'm sure you're excited about that as well,
But yeah,
Cozy.
that's all I've been playing is
But
Grounded. Oh, and Vampire Survivors.
Okay, get that dope out of here. Anyways, so anyways,
oh, and Barbie
so
Project Friendship. By the way, I've been playing Barbie Project.
you were proud to
No,
talk about that
you
the other
guys,
day. in
you
the
guys
party.
don't
You were
sleep
proud.
on Barbie Project Friendship if you want a nice, cutesy, cozy game.
You were talking about that the other day. You were really proud of that game. But anyways, so I'm gonna go over to Matt next because there's actually a question on the screen that maybe you can answer. I haven't had any time because I've been doing a bunch of running around all day today. But is the beta on for?
Yeah, it is, but it's kind of not really working properly. I played like
That
a
sounds
game.
about right.
I played a game and it was me getting my ass kicked. I tried to queue for another one, and it's just like forever queuing. Like it'll do a thing where it finds players quickly, and then it's like it's gonna put you in a match, and then it just restarts the queue. So servers are screwed up right now. So there you go for Gears of War.
Okay.
Otherwise,
well,
I'd be playing that.
All right. So outside of that, we got that question answered. So outside of that, what has Matt likes games been doing for the past week? What have you been playing? What have you been up to? Anything new? Any videos coming out? What's cracking with you and your channel?
Halo. I've been playing Halo because they got the Hayabusa armor from Halo 3, and you can grind to get it. So
and
that's
what did you learn about that?
What's that?
Hayabusa.
Oh yeah. That apparently is a not apparently, but is a Ninja Gaiden crossover. Which I back on Halo 3, I never put that together in my head because I didn't play Ninja Gaiden. All I played was Halo. So like I didn't even put it together that it was a Ninja Gaiden crossover until they said that they crossed over with Ninja Gaiden to bring back the Hayabusa armor from Halo 3. But yeah, I've been grinding for the Hayabusa armor. I'm playing Splitgate 2 literally right now. That game's been a bunch of fun. And I'm waiting for the Gears beta to sort its stuff out. And I'll probably play some of that tonight. See how bad I still am at Gears.
Okay. So Gears is in your future. You're
Yes.
playing a lot of Halo lately.
Yes.
I got to ask you because I knew you were there yesterday.
Was.
And obviously this is going to be included in the showcase. And as you guys see, I have my Canva up so you can see like what today's thumbnail was. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Is this is not an Xbox from some people. Seeing the new ROG Ally that is with the Xbox OS that's running through it or whatever. But anyways, there's the kind of call to action that I put there on the bottom because PlayStation is coming out and talking about consoles and beyond. They kind of said some of that stuff before, but I still don't feel like they're really working with clean waters. I still feel like there's a lot of mud in the waters, and I don't really understand the direction quite yet. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And then obviously, last but not least, as we get ready to get out of here, we're going to finish out the show talking about like our thoughts with the showcase, all of them. We're not going to talk about each and every game now because that's insane. But we're just going to talk about what our highlights were from them. Try to be mostly positive about the ones that were all shown this last week. And then that should be pretty much it. Shouldn't be too crazy of an episode, but we definitely do have a lot to say. But going on over to Mr. Mental 9R. Did I give you a chance to finish your thought though, Matt? Or were you still talking about
You're
something?
fine. That's what I've been playing, so.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't step on you. All right, so Mental 9R. What's cracking, brother? How have you been doing? Is Canada okay, or at least the area that you're in? And what have you been playing as of lately with the time that you have?
I finished playing Doom recently, just a few days ago. Finished that, and now I'm just kind of going back and replaying the levels that I did in 100% and things of that nature. Loved that game. I had so much fun with that. That is, it's hard to imagine what will come out that will dethrone that from my game of the year, because that is, if you look at me and you think, what kind of games does that guy like? That's it right there. Doom. That is right up my alley. Absolutely loved it. Had a blast. In fact, I'll probably replay the whole thing because I've kind of almost started doing that anyway. But great time. Other than that, been playing a little bit of RE2. Just going through my Resident Evil remakes again. I'm not going to lie, though. I haven't really touched it much since I got so involved in Doom. But hey, that's okay. It jumped in there once in a while. But yeah, that. And oddly enough, a little bit of Callisto Protocol, too. I've been doing sort of, those are my three that I'm playing with right now. But yeah, and as far as, are things okay here? I guess you're talking about fires and junk. Yeah, everything's fine where I'm at. We just get the smoke from the other provinces that have some issues. If that's what you're talking about.
If you're being honest, no, that was not what I was talking about.
Okay, what were you talking about?
Asking, just in general, I mean, you guys are. I don't know. I just seeing making sure you guys are doing all right over there.
Yeah, doing okay. Surviving. Inflation's running amok here again. Everything's going up in price, but I think that's just political junk. But
sure.
Yeah, that part sucks. Other than that, I'm in a good mood because the Oilers came back and won last night, so that was great.
Wasn't
looking good after the first period, but damn, did they came back nicely. So I knew they had it in them, and I never lost faith. Although I was feeling pretty discouraged when they were down 3-0. But
Are you near Edmonton?
I live technically in Edmonton. Yes, I'm kind of on the outskirts, but I'm within the Edmonton city borders. Yeah.
Nice. So that is like literally your team.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're not just going for them because they're in Canada. You're there. You could go to a game if you wanted to spend an outrageous amount of money.
Yeah, I could do that. Or I could go hang out downtown in what they call the mosh pit, where everybody's outside, going mental. So, hey, going mental. There you go. But yeah, it's
so
exciting.
Do you ever go to games and stuff like that?
I have, yes. Oddly,
are the beers as insane there as they are here? Like,
it's been
$15 for a freaking drink or something like that.
It's nuts. It's nuts. Yeah, you go to a concession, you can blow through $100 in a heartbeat. So, yeah, it's crazy.
I hate that. I was hoping maybe you guys had something a little bit better.
No.
Nope. Apparently, the Phoenix Suns owner is like the best in like sports staying near, because like he like puts his games on like local TV for the state or something like that, and I think they have like cheaper concessions and stuff like that when you actually go to their games and whatever.
Yeah.
And they still make a mad profit, right?
That'd be nice. It's definitely not happening here.
Yeah, it ain't happening here either. It ain't happening here in Denver. I went to a few I went to a few Nuggets games and Avalanche games here. And yeah, it's like for, you know, a Michelob Ultra or, you know, a Coors Light, which is really popular here because Coors is made here in Denver,
Yeah.
out in out a little bit out west of Denver, in Golden. You would think that the beer would be cheaper, but
Your beer
not.
is cheap compared to
No,
ours. So
I'm
we pay a
sure it
lot more.
is.
Yeah, we
Just
pay a
because
lot
you
more
guys
for it.
are. I was just wondering if like maybe you guys had a different way of handling something, but apparently not. That's not what we're here to talk about.
No.
I was just kind of interested. I'm always interested in how how the grass is over somewhere else. You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting. But it sucks there too. That's great.
Don't get me started, man. I can go on for hours about it. So
All right. Well, anyways, let's go ahead and get started and get into the stuff. So, first thing that I kind of wanted to get into and get out of the way is this whole idea of what an Xbox is nowadays. And I wanted to actually go over back to you first, Mental, because you're really dug into like PC gaming quite a bit. You've been enjoying kind of the way that, you know, PlayStation has done some of the stuff. You haven't really been thoroughly impressed with their output in games as of recently. But as for like hardware, you kind of been enjoying the PlayStation and what they have to offer. I'm kind of curious what you think of Xbox deciding to essentially team up with Asus to make something which they're kind of indirectly responsible for, you know, a lot of people's operating systems. A lot of people are saying, you know, Xbox is going down the Sega route, but Sega never had an operating system anybody cared to use. And the operating system's the first thing you see when you turn on your device. So I'm wondering to you, do you count this as an Xbox device? Because keep in mind, because I do want to put this out there, keep in mind, you can already do a lot of this stuff with other handhelds and stuff like that. It just doesn't have a built-in UI that will fast track you to Xbox. But to be honest, that's what something like somebody like me is looking for. I'm looking to turn on my thing and not go to a desktop. I want to go straight to my games. So I want to hear what you have to say, what your thoughts are, and do you think that this is enough of an Xbox to you at all, or is it just nah?
okay, so to start, like I was thinking about this topic. To start this topic, I'm going to take you back to February 2024 to that show where we talked about a go forward strategy for Xbox and essentially doing everything.
This is like the 20th time you're bringing this up, actually.
Yeah, and yeah, you know, because it's exactly what I wanted them to do back then, right? Long before any of this talk happened, we went through all this and we argued out the pros and cons of them going this route. Not so much with a third party for hardware, but for anyone that hasn't seen that episode, you should go back and check it out. It was like early February last year. I can't remember, like the 7th or 8th or something like that. But maybe the 9th. I can't remember. Somewhere in that range. Go back, check it out.
We should review that episode. We should go back and review that episode.
We should, because I think
nobody likes to review old episodes of their own stuff. We should review our old episode talking about that in particular and just see what actually happened versus what we were looking for back then and see how on or off topic that we were.
I think you'd be shocked to find out how accurate it all was. Other than the only thing that we talked about was Xbox producing the device, like Microsoft building the device. But as far as the controller-friendly dashboard, the running it on basically what is a Windows operating system, being able to have all the game stores, all of that stuff is panned out exactly like, you know, the vision I had in my brain anyway for what they should do in order to combat this negativity around them going full third party. Because this way, you're giving back so much more, right? You're getting those PlayStation games. Every game that PlayStation puts on Windows is going to come to the Xbox. Now, we haven't seen their console, but that's not going to change anything. The console will still be an Xbox, whether they make it or not. So I guess I'm answering your question. To me, this handheld is what Xbox has evolved into, which is really a unified interface to everything. And you're right. Like when you boot up a device like this, you don't want to see the desktop. That's, I think, what makes the Steam Deck so wonderful compared to the other Windows-based handhelds. You boot those up, and it's kind of painful to use.
I can't hear anybody. I can't hear anybody.
You can't hear me?
I hear Cozy. I'm not sure what happened. I
Okay,
can see mental.
so mental. So I did lose mental's here audio because I just had to restart my thing, and I was like, huh, I lose his audio, and we actually did. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just refresh your window, mental. That's all I did. It's quick and simple. Easiest way to get it done. But yeah, I really interesting. That was pretty dang interesting. And until then, I'm just gonna.
Not too much.
Says okay. What's that?
They got him.
Right. Okay. All right. He's back. He's back.
Okay, I don't know where you lost me. I was just going there, but can you hear me okay now?
I can hear you, but your face is frozen.
My face is frozen. Well, that might be
Yeah.
good. I don't know. Here, let me disable the camera and come back again.
Yeah, it's still frozen. That's okay. Just finish what you were saying, and then when I go to somebody else, you can fix it.
Okay.
So I really want to hear what you had to say.
So where did you lose me? What was I saying when I disappeared?
It was right after. It was right after we were talking about reviewing the show, and you were saying like the things that we got right.
Okay, so I went on. I was just talking about, when you look at this device, then I guess what I'm saying is, to me, it is an Xbox. Xbox has evolved their business. They're no longer necessarily the hardware, and we've talked about this stuff before, but they're becoming more of an interface. And what this handheld device will provide is a unified interface to your gaming world. And that fits with what we talked about a year and a half ago, having an interface that you can boot Windows into, that gives you that controller friendly UI that you can work with, that will bring all your Steam games, that'll bring all your games from other providers and just kind of integrate it all into one shell. And all that stuff happens in the background and you don't even really have to worry about it. So, when you look at this device, that's what I think about. It's a handheld Xbox gaming device. We don't know what the console is going to be like. We don't know if they're going to build their own console or not. Like, my preference would be is for them to build the hardware so that they can have something similar to the Steam Deck, where you go into a game and it detects that you're using the Xbox console and it preloads all the optimized PC settings. We talked a bit about that before too. And that would make it even more console-like, more seamless from a Windows environment perspective. And you wouldn't be expecting console users, like traditional console users that don't know anything about the PC environment and all the crazy number of options, right? You could still go in and tune that if you want to, but there would be like default profiles for the Xbox, same as you have today, performance and whatnot. Hopefully they go that route. But generally speaking, to answer your question, yeah, I do think it's an Xbox. And I also think it would be fun to go back and watch that episode, like do a review and just see how close we were. I mean, personally, I think we would probably be shocked as to how close this is all working out to exactly what, like I say, I had envisioned in my brain anyway. And I think what we came to as a consensus as to how good this could be for Xbox moving forward. And it changes the narrative quite a bit. When you can buy a hardware device or a console, like I'm not so much the handheld, because those existed already, right? But when the actual set-top box or under the TV console comes out that gives you that versatility with a nice unified interface that gives you access to all your Steam games and everything else, and then you can go on and you can hook up a keyboard and mouse to it. There's no more second-class citizen stuff. You're just like one of their games like Age of Empires comes out, it's always a delay getting it on the console because of the controller. You'd get it day one, you'd be able to play it day one just with a mouse and keyboard. It eliminates all that hassle and it makes it simple, right? The one thing that this is missing, though, that we talked about and that I've harped on many times with this strategy is they do need to build an emulator for all the walled garden games so that your library in that sense can still move forward in order to, back up their mantra about having that game preservation that they keep talking about and making sure. That's why I think that it's got to be on the slate somewhere. It's probably not ready yet. There's a ton of work to do, I think, in terms of licensing to convince the third parties that this is okay and it's really not going to be anything scary. I mean, the third parties might prefer if you go out and buy the game again on PC, so there may be some hang-ups in that respect, but I think they really need to focus on getting that done in order to ensure they're backing up their words with game preservation and having everything move forward again. The emulator part of it, they're already built. They're already designed to run on a Windows kernel anyway. They'll probably just take a few modifications. The other thing I was thinking about in my brain one day was, and it's probably, I don't know if they've done that with this, but there could be some kind of an identification chip put within the Xbox devices that would then be something that the emulator could look for and go, okay, yeah, this is Xbox hardware, and then it works. That could be a way they appease the license holders as well, so that it's not just being able to be installed on any PC and just work and sort of maybe break their terms of service. But if they had some kind of a hardware ID built into the actual licensed Xboxes, that could solve that, I would think, and it should make it a lot easier for them to bring these games forward.
No doubt. I like that answer. And I'm not sure how many of you guys out there, whether it's those of you on the panel or those of you that are in the chat or those of you that are just kind of hanging out watching, if you guys would like, I could throw on this. It's like we're only going to watch about 7 or 8 minutes of it, but it's kind of the Xbox ROG Ally actual like behind the scenes features and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys got the chance to see this, but I figured I'd just throw that on. They'll actually give you some time mental to get your camera and whatnot figured out as well too. So
Sure.
I felt that'd be like a nice little break and we can all kind of get on the same page of what this thing actually is before then I go off on it, or Cozy, and then Matt, and then you guys in the chat will have a little bit better of an understanding if you don't already understand what this thing actually is. But let's go ahead and listen.
For the first
Let me know
time,
if you guys can hear it.
a player is going to be able to hold the power of the Xbox experience in their hand and take it with them anywhere they want to go.
This is a breakthrough moment for Xbox.
It's a ruthlessly player-first, game-first Xbox experience.
The familiarity makes a huge difference. It just feels like you are home.
It's all about putting gaming front and center. We want to make this feel like it's a device that's built for players. That's our whole goal.
Welcome to Xbox Ally.
All right, you're working now, Mental. You're good.
So in partnership with Asus, we're going to be releasing 2 devices, the Xbox Ally and the Xbox Ally X. And the first thing you're going to notice about these devices is this new design. For me, it feels like I'm holding an Xbox.
It goes back to the Xbox game controller. People have muscle memory, the shape.
One thing I wanted to say real quick, and you guys feel free to answer, but the way that they're talking about this and the way that they talked about it, like throughout it, you'll notice it didn't sound like they really planned on going forward with the one that they were making. It just sounds like they are like everything they couldn't wait to do, they put in this.
Yeah.
Is what they make it sound like. Thoughts, or can I keep going?
The way it fits in your hands, the asymmetrical thumbsticks, the ABXY. And imagine just pulling that apart and dropping in a full color, rich display to put the game right into your hands.
That's where this project started, bringing the Xbox experience into a handheld category.
The color of the buttons, that familiar ergonomic gamepad feel, the ability to have impulse triggers, right?
We have that precision Xbox controller experience, the rumble feedback and the haptics that just feels so natural.
You pick it up, it looks like an Xbox, it feels like an Xbox, it plays like an Xbox.
I love the screen. The screen is absolutely gorgeous.
We thought about the brightness that you needed on the panel. 1080p, 120 hertz refresh rate, and VRR.
It was so important to us that the experience from both the hardware and software side feel like an Xbox device from the moment you turn it on.
That's what people love about consoles. Press the power button and play. No configuration necessary. I just want to play games.
So let's take them to games. Let's take them straight to Xbox. Let's take them straight into what they want to do. You know that amazing moment when the Nexus comes up on the screen and you know you're about to have a fun time? Let's bring that to handheld.
Everything's coming together across the silicon, across the hardware, across the operating system to really deliver that Xbox first experience that players have been asking for. The full gameplay experience that you expect on a PC or a console, it's now available in your hands.
Oh, what up, Click?
The Xbox Ally is designed to be your great portable gaming companion, allowing you to bring your entire library of games with you on the go.
It's just a super flexible device. It's going to give me a great balance in terms of the battery life and the performance. It also has fantastic cloud playing experiences built in.
I'm going to ask you,
It gives
Mental.
you all of the performance that you.
So, Mental, I got to ask you, since you're our technical guru here. Now they talk about like an 80 milliamp, like an 80-hour milliamp battery or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or isn't that what they said? Is that right, Matt?
I forget the terminal, but yeah, it's 80, whatever it is. It's a big battery.
Okay. What do you with the games today? Does that even matter, Mental?
Battery life? It does.
You think that's going to be pretty significant?
Battery life to me matters. That's one of the reasons I have a Steam Deck and I never bothered with the others, right? Because their usefulness away from a power source is pretty limited. Like you're getting an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops in gameplay, right? Whereas my Steam Deck, I can game for multiple hours, like 3-4 hours away from the power source. It's quite a bit different in that regard. So yeah, I mean, to me, battery life matters in a handheld device. Otherwise, you've just got something you got to plug in all the time if you want to have fun with it. That's one of the concerns I have with this one. Although it looks like, you know, and I haven't seen it obviously in real life, it looks like it's a fair bit thicker. I don't know how much bigger that battery is than the one that was in the default ROG device, but they don't like it when you say ROG, by the way. But
I'm gonna look it up for you guys.
But I mean, no one wants to be tethered. Battery is important.
Yeah, to me it is, definitely. I agree with Cozy there. And the one thing I was going to mention, though, as well, is they talk about bringing that experience to a handheld device. They got to be careful with what they say in some respects, because there's going to be a lot of games that this handheld device will not play as well as the consoles do. That's just the reality of it, right? You're dealing with a 15-watt, 30-watt in turbo motor, whatever device, competing with a console that will pull, 10 times that amount of power, right? It's not going to happen. So they got to kind of watch what they say. It's the same thing with people, talking about, oh, it'll play all the PlayStation games and it's wonderful. Well, you're going to play a lot of those games at pretty low frame rates. So, I look at even something like the from last generation, the Uncharted collection on a Steam Deck. You're lucky to be, with low settings, playing Lost Legacy, that opening crowd area, you'll get dips into the mid 20s, right, for frame rate. So I wouldn't call that like a real console experience. There's going to be compromises. So my main concern is maybe they're setting some false expectations with some of this stuff they're talking about in here. But we'll see, right? Time will tell, as always.
No,
But,
for sure. And I mean, technology is not going to slow down, right? It's just going to get more expansive. It's going to get crazier.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what this new AMD Ryzen Z2 chip can do in this, because it's supposed to be a stronger one than the current one that's out, right?
Yeah, I'm not expecting it's not going to be like a generational upgrade that you would think in terms of consoles or whatever. It's going to be a relatively incremental update. It's different. Like with stuff like this, it's going to probably be, 2 CPU generations from now is when you'll see a real, okay, yeah, that's very noticeable, right? You're dealing with low wattage. And that's one of the reasons, like the Steam Deck still today, and in 15 watt mode still performs basically the same as a ROG Ally will in 15 watt mode, because it's just the technology limitation. In order to take advantage of 16 threads that the ROG provides, you need more power to do it, and 15 watts isn't cutting it. So I'm not expecting it to light the world on fire, at least in handheld mode, if you want your battery to last any length of time. Maybe when you set it in a dock and you have it on your TV, it'll probably be pretty good running in 30 watt mode, right? But it's there's just limitations, and until we see a major advancement, like maybe once you get down to 1 nanometer tech and you can just make these things a lot more efficient in that 15 watt envelope, and start doing a little more magic in that regard, then we'll see some more major updates. Maybe you'll get a lot more games at 60 frames that are, a little more current and stuff. But
to
me, it also really.
I was gonna say the base RG Ally is 40 watt hour battery. RG Ally X is 80. The new ones are gonna be 80, or at least the Xbox Ally X is gonna be 80. I don't know about the other one.
Okay.
Well, this battery is 60 watt hour.
Okay, so that's the base Ally. That's the base Xbox Ally then, because it's white. Yeah, RG Xbox Ally.
Yeah,
it's not the Extreme.
The X.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Extreme one is a little bit different. There it is.
Yeah, still a better battery than the base RG Ally, but that one and the Ally X make like twice the battery capacity.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it performs. You maybe get a couple hours out of it. That wouldn't be too terrible if it could achieve that with decent performance. But I'm always a bit concerned.
I'm really interested in the UI and how you access stuff and get it running.
Mm-hmm.
What
I want to see how the store integration works.
My biggest piece.
Yeah, and how the store integration works. Like when you search for a game, is it gonna default you to the Microsoft Store and you have to click through a few things to see what Steam is offering, or will it just show you a list of vendors and here's your best price that you can sort it by lowest price to highest? I'm curious to see how they're going to manage that.
All right, now Matt, so you have an ROG Ally right now, and I know that you really enjoy it. You seen this one, and initially you wanted it, and then you started to think, well, I heard, which is the truth, that they're going to be bringing that Xbox OS to like devices, and even I think it's going to be available for like Legion Goes and stuff like that as well. So you were wondering, so I wanted to hear from you what you think makes this one in particular stand out versus the one that you have, and why or why not you feel the need to get this at all or not.
Okay, so right now I don't feel the need to get that. I was interested in getting it, like very interested. But two things. First, might even say three things, because we don't know what the price of this thing's going to be. I saw a leak today, like a rumor, or leak, whatever you want to call it. But apparently it's going to release in October, and like the top end model is like £899, which would put it well over 1,000, if that is true. So there's that to factor in on top of it. But before you get into all that, there's also like you said, I have the ROG Ally. I read that I think it was on official. Is it on Xbox's official Wire blog post, or it was like some article came out after the fact with an interview with Asus and Xbox. But I read that they are going to be bringing that OS first to the original ROG Allies, and then to other devices. Like it'll be a thing that you can download, just like now you can download SteamOS as of recently. So I was like, okay, well, if they're doing that, I already have the first Ally, the Z1 Extreme versus Z2 Extreme. I mean, from the videos I've seen of people talking about what they expect the performance to be, because there's no benchmarks that I'm aware of yet, but it's like a 15 to 20% increase, which is cool. That's always a good thing, but it's like, is it worth, I already have this one, is it worth dropping over $1,000, presumably, to get that extra 15 to 20%? I don't think so. But this, like, it looks cool. I feel like if I didn't have an ROG Ally, after knowing all the things are rumored, I probably would still be on board with this. I'd probably be ready to pick one of these up. But because I have an Ally right now, I don't think I need it. I don't think I need to rush out and get it. But it looks cool, and I'll keep my eye on it.
If it's $9.99, that's gonna hurt a lot for market penetration.
So, I mean, I could be entirely wrong here, but because I just typed in like British pounds to USD, and I mean, I was kind of shocked, but it came up with like $8.99 is like $1,200, and I was like,
yeah. And now do that conversion to other currencies like Canada.
Yeah.
Or Australia. Australia's even worse. It'll be well over $2,000 there, and it's not going to sell. Like, it won't sell in Canada. I mean, if it's 1,200 US, you're basically going to be around probably $15.99. It's like $1,600 Canadian. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you can buy Steam Decks or $600 kind of thing, right? Now, the advantage Steam has, of course, is it's their store, so they can subsidize. This is where this device, they can't do that anymore. And, we talked about that a year and a half ago, too, that they need to make a profit on the hardware. But there's a difference between making a profit and gouging. There's no way this thing is going to cost them that much to build. There's just no way. So I'm hoping that price is way wrong.
Yeah, I think that price is way wrong, because I think their whole premise is to get games in your hands, right? So if you're going to make it outrageously priced to the point where it's inaccessible for most people, which I mean, this thing, let's be honest, it's gonna be like PlayStation 5 Pro expensive. Like, it is gonna be that. And and as much as I don't like it now, it's my turn to chime in, I guess, because I'm gonna let Cozy finish or continue nibbling for a little bit, but I am really looking forward to this to this piece of hardware right here, personally, because I have only the Steam Deck, and when I bought the Steam Deck, the reason I bought it was to also because there was some devices out there like the Eye and Neo, GPD for the win, and stuff like that, but like I wasn't that interested in those products, and I wanted that kind of seamless experience that the Steam OS gives you, but I also wanted to be able to access Windows. So I got the Steam Deck, put Tiny 11 on a SD card, a 2.0 SD card, and it runs fairly well. I could play some games on it. It doesn't, run the best. It's also still got to run off of the Steam Deck, so it's not gonna. And the SD card is only so fast as well. So there's like a lot of like kind of stipulations there. I can play a good amount of games, but I can't play a lot of like the high demanding Xbox titles on that device. So it kind of like is a little bit of a frustration to use, but it works. But when I bought that, it was only like a few weeks to a month later that they announced the ROG Ally, and then the Legion Go. They dropped that as well, and I was pissed because those were literally the things that I was looking for, and I ended up with a Steam Deck. So now I'm looking forward. Now that they have something that actually has, more of a console-like experience, so that's what they seem to be advertising on here. That makes me a little happy that I did get the Steam Deck, because now my Steam Deck is strictly for Steam games and then also emulating, because I've been emulating on that thing and it works really well for that, right? But then I can just use my next handheld, which I'm expecting it to be the ROG Xbox Ally. I'm expecting it to be that, so I can then play kind of my more recent and higher demanding games. Maybe not all the highest demanding games, but I can play Dune Awakening on my Steam Deck right now. But the thing is everything's mega low settings and it's not verified, but it runs fine. So I know on something like the ROG Xbox Ally, it would run incredibly a lot better on that device because it has more power. And that's just kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a laptop that's not really a laptop, that I can have desktop mode in, but when I turn it on, I want a game. And that's what my Steam Deck was, but I tell you what, turning on OBS on your Steam Deck is not great.
Turning on what?
I'll tell you that much. OBS.
Oh, yeah.
On your Steam Deck is not great. And I think something like this handheld, the ROG Ally X, I could at least run something like that if I'm out of town and want to make a video or want to go online real quick. It'll run better than my Steam Deck would.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for, is this thing to be more of my content creation on the go. I can play the current games when I'm out of town with the boys and stuff like that. And then the Steam Deck is just my Steam dash, want to play Need for Speed from PS2 or something like that, like that's what I use that device for, because I swear I can sit there and play Need for Speed for hours on that Steam Deck without it really raising an eyebrow on me. I stayed up for I want to say it's kind of embarrassing, but I played like that. I played Need for Speed Underground, the original one, for like 5 hours straight, just laying in bed, and I didn't realize that the sun was up. And I was like, cause I'm used to that thing dying after like 2-3 hours, right? Like your 5 hours went by, and I'm sitting there playing it off of the charger, and I'm like, man, this is pretty great. This is unnecessary. But But yeah, what's cracking, Tim the Sorcerer? Good to see you. He says $800 is like 39 euros in like real currency, right? Just kidding. Hey there. Evil Click AEC founder says, I was thinking of selling my Steam Deck, but I'm going with him. I'll keep my Steam Deck for only Steam. Yeah, I just want to keep it just for the smaller stuff because it runs the smaller stuff perfectly fine. It has a good battery life for that stuff. Steam has really good support for the Steam Deck. There's no reason for me to get rid of that thing. It's already paid for and done. The only thing I need to do now is upgrade. Like if I want to play recent games on something, Steam Deck is going to be chugging really hard. I want something that has a little bit extra oomph, and also, but I still want something that has a good UI to where I turn it on and it knows what I want to do, but allows me to do other things that I don't really need to do all the time. But anyways, Cozy, I want to hear your thoughts now because I haven't heard anything from you in like almost an hour since we like started the show. You've been like crushing corn on the cob, and now you're eating something out of a bowl. Okay, so that's a melon. That's not even a bowl. So now you're eating a melon. You're just over there munching. Got the bird over on your on your shoulder. That bird finally shut the hell up. And feeling good. Everything's going good. It looks like you're doing all right. But I want to know, like, you're obviously somebody that's really slow when it comes to adapting new hardware, right? Like, you're never in a rush to go outside and spend top dollar for the next thing. So I want you just to kind of break down your thoughts and where do you think this might go for you in the future. Maybe not right now because it's not something that you're looking to purchase right now, but obviously the direction in gaming is going more with you than it is just at home. And do you see yourself picking up or getting into some sort, whether it's this one in particular, a Steam Deck or whatever it is, do you see yourself getting into a handheld outside of the Switch that you know,
Absolutely.
put a lot of time into?
I was handheld before handhelds were cool.
I'm turning you down.
Oh, sorry.
You tripped.
Yeah, I was handheld before handhelds. Before handhelds.
You're good. Cool. I like the energy. I like the energy.
I've always carried around a handheld. That's something that I carry around my 3DS till this day. As far as which handheld I would look at, I wouldn't go with the Xbox ROG Ally. I would like to see what they were doing with the software to make it a more streamlined experience. Because if that's the case, then I would like that software. But I don't like the controller design of the Xbox ROG Ally. I don't. I absolutely don't. But the one I would go
is there one that you do like? Is there a handheld out there that you do like it?
The regular ROG Ally is the one that's been on my radar. As far as the Legion Go, I like it, the looks of it, but from the people I know who've had one, they've all said it's like less ergonomic than the ROG Ally, which is the most important aspect. And the Steam Deck isn't really on my radar because I'm not that attached to Steam.
No doubt. Make sure you see Hector Damacho M5. He reposted the stream via X. Shout out to the folks over there on X that are chilling and watching this. Please make sure that you hit that like button. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button as well. Show some love, subscribe. We like to have the random conversations. People come up, they have questions or thoughts of their own. We like to read them off for the most part, especially if you got something interesting to say other than arguing with Seawolf, because he seems to get everybody in with the arguing.
But yeah, I keep all my handhelds.
Guy. But I want to hear what you got to say, Cozy. Please continue.
All my handhelds.
Look at the Vita. Is that the Vita?
Yep. I keep all. I was primarily a handheld gamer for a long time. And actually now I play large quantities of my gaming time on my phone.
C4 said you got small hands.
mean, I'm not a very big person, so.
She's like 4'7".
I wish.
She's
I
4'7"
No,
with
I am taller than
3-foot
4 foot.
hands.
I have decent
Right,
size.
she's 4'8".
But yeah, but the software is definitely what appeals to me. I'm one of those people, like when Mental talks about it dips into the 20s. I am okay with that. I literally used to play games with an integrated GPU that could only get like 15 to 20, and I was like, and I was fine with it.
I want to see Matt. I want to see Cozy take on Matt in the paint. I think Matt would be in trouble. I think Matt would be in trouble. I think you'd be in trouble, Eddie. I think
like,
Cozy might go right between your legs and take the ball.
No. I'm palming that ball. I'm backing her down, and it's a hook shot. It's a very easy hook shot.
I played basketball for a long time, and I was a 3 points was my specialty.
I was a very big center. I didn't learn how to shoot until like
see,
sixth grade. Sixth grade is when I learned how to shoot.
I got stamina for days, and I can shoot.
I think
that's where Cozy has me beat. It's stamina versus just pure brute strength. And a basketball game up and down the court, Cozy wins that. But if you pass me the ball in the paint, no.
I don't know, man. Cozy might posterize you.
Yeah, she's fucking windmills it on me. Like LeBron James.
Oh man, I'd love to see Cozy just try to just keep Matt from heading inside. Matt's just thumping it back, Cozy's just flying into the fence.
I'm like Shaq when he dunked on that one dude and then just pushed him.
Yeah, just shoved him straight out.
Oh god,
that dude got up furious.
He was mad. He pelted Shaq with the ball. He did not like.
Yeah, he did. He grabbed the ball and threw it at him. I forgot about that. That's great. Oh man. Anyways, so Cozy's Cozy's a whole. Cozy is a handheld person. We all enjoy ourselves some handhelds. We all have some history with it. Cozy's talked about her history with handhelds. She even showed you her old Vita. I know she's really big into the Nintendo ones. I enjoyed back in the day my Game Gear. My Nomad was a big deal because it took whole ass Genesis cartridges, but that thing died super duper quick. Matt's familiar with handhelds. He has a few more recent ones for sure, and Mental just Vita. Oh yeah, and of course the old. You said you thought you had your Vita somewhere in a box, but you don't know.
Nope, can't find it. It's gone. That thing is officially gone, man. Unfortunately.
Oh, it's official. And then Mental is just he's just a computer guy. He just plays a lot of computer stuff. So he's been in and around that stuff throughout his life for sure. But anyways, let's go on ahead and move on. We talked enough about the Xbox handheld. I think it is. Because the whole thought process before was, is this an Xbox or not? Did they fall off and do what Sega did? Not really, in my opinion. I understand where some people get that sentiment of like they kind of fell off and they're not who they are anymore. But they're still like making games and publishing games and putting them everywhere. But one thing that Sega didn't have is the access to the OS that gets a lot of this stuff cooking for most players in the world.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit disappointed they didn't build the device themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
I think there's optimizations they could have done, perhaps, that maybe you're not going to get out of an off-the-shelf device from Asus. But I'll be honest, I really hope they build their own console. Like for that, connect it to the TV device. I really think that that's where they can do their own custom APU again. And the volume that they can buy in, they should be able to keep that price a lot more reasonable than going to a third party like Asus that's more than likely not going to use a custom APU. They're probably going to try and do something a little different. It's hard to say, but I don't know. That's the one thing I'll say. I really hope they build their own console.
Okay. Any final thoughts for you, Cozy?
My final thoughts are I'm excited to see more options in handhelds at all levels. Especially since I'm not necessarily one who's like, I needed to play everything. I have options.
Okay, Matt, final thought?
No, I'm interested to see what they do with it. And I'm interested to see about what Mental said earlier, if they're going to be working on an emulator, because that's a thing that it's going to need. That is the thing that's going to need.
That's what really makes it an Xbox to me. Can I just
Yes.
go into my 360 library and load those games up and play them?
Exactly.
If you can,
Without
shut
that,
up and
it's
take
not
my
an
money.
Xbox.
Yeah, if you can't do that, then I'm more inclined to say, it's not really an Xbox, and it's breaking that promise of carry it forward type, game preservation. So
Exactly. If they can do that, that would be. If they could do that, that probably seals the deal. Like I'm on PC probably full time at that point.
yeah, well, there would be no point in staying with anything else at that point, right?
All right, so the next piece of the conversation I wanted to talk about was SIE president and CEO Hideki Nishino says the theme for PlayStation business is console and beyond. We are building on the strength of PlayStation platform and PlayStation Studios. Now, I want to take this over to you first, Cozy, to hear your kind of opinion on what this means to you, if it means anything at all. Because to me, this honestly kind of sounds like the same thing that they said not long ago, and it's just like I don't see any like adjustment, or maybe like their adjustment was made back then and they're just doubling down, which isn't a bad thing, I guess, if that's working for them. But I just want to hear from a person that doesn't really particularly care about like Xbox or PlayStation. They just play their kind of games in their corner and does their thing. What do you think, Cozy, about just hearing this? Because you are a PlayStation fan, you loved yourself some Fat Princess. PS3 was, the biggest thing for you when it came console wise, and you just got done showing us the Vita. So you got some love for PlayStation. So let me hear what you got to say about it.
I think they're going to keep on keeping on as long as they can. I think the bigger worry that they should be concerned, especially with how they're managing things, is console gamers are becoming older. You can't get new blood by inserting the same method. That hasn't been working to get new blood. We know the numbers are stagnant, and we know that unfortunately their live service efforts have mostly failed. They have to make some meaningful change, because a lot of younger gamers they're going to see like, I have to buy this device to do this thing, and that's very outdated. That's very archaic.
Okay, Cozy, I'm gonna pause you just real quick because I want you to check this out before you continue to say what you're going to finish saying. Just so you have a little bit more or possibly more context. Maybe you don't need it, but I'm just going to throw this on more or less for myself than you, but I'm just going to throw it on so everybody else can see as well. So here is a little conversation that they had recently.
Many investors are speculating that Microsoft is moving away from the console. If that's true, is that good or bad for PlayStation?
So we think that competition in the business is healthy and then pushes us to innovate. There are multiple participants who together drive the overall game industry. And while there are new engagement models being explored, we ultimately think this is a good thing. However, as I mentioned earlier, we are confident and committed on our current strategy. And there isn't an urgent need for us to pivot, but we will continue to monitor play patterns and invest appropriately as required. PlayStation console experience is designed to enable immediate gameplay in an immersive and accessible way. We're doing this in a completely integrated way, designing and manufacturing all aspects from the chips to the backend system. And we continue to look for new and innovative ways to broaden our reach and bring our content and a service to the players. The value of the PlayStation console is that still the best place to play, and it's growing as we reach an even broader audience.
And you're quite right that we're continuously exploring new ways for players to interact with their franchises. It's important to realize that we're really thoughtful about bringing our franchises off console to reach new audiences, and that we're taking a very measured, a very deliberate approach in doing that. Particularly on the single player side, our tentpole titles, there's such a differentiated, the point of differentiation, I should say, for the PlayStation console. They're real showcases of the performance, of the quality of the hardware. So we want to ensure that players get the best experience from these titles. And we're very thoughtful about how and how we bring these titles to other platforms.
However, regardless of access, we have many sustainable advantages in our business in the store. So on our customer side, our first-party exclusive titles enhance our catalog of great third-party content, which keeps players engaging and returning, right? And many of our players subscribe to Plus, which also keeps players coming back. Cloud gaming is increasingly...
I just needed to pause this because I wanted to read what Seawolf said out loud because I thought that was funny. Seawolf ain't got no love for nobody out here. He ain't got no love for nobody out here. Seawolf says, stick to surfing, Herman. You're killing me with your gas cans. and I don't always agree with Seawolf, but he ain't lying. Like the output of some of these games from PlayStation has not, because what they're saying is they're going to stick with their strategy, and it's kind of weird because it's kind of like they're kind of double speaking a little bit to us, because on one hand strategy, but on the other hand they're telling us that their strategy isn't working and they're partially changing their strategy at the same time. Let's go on ahead and finish this because we don't have very much longer, but I want to dig into that and let Cozy finish off her thoughts. I just wanted her to have as much information as possible. It looks like we just have a little over a minute and a half to go.
Providing an additional option for players to access content, but our belief is that the majority of players continue to kind of want to experience the gaming through a local execution without dependency on network conditions. And PS5 and PS5 Pro have validated these theses, I believe.
Some investors, to be quite honest, are concerned that the improved specifications of the Switch 2 and Nintendo's improved relationships with third-party publishers will lead to tougher competition for PlayStation in the next few years. What do you think about those concerns?
Yeah, so we closely monitor the kind of overall gaming industry, including the action of other market participants. Additionally, catalysts in the market are great for the industry as a whole. And then as they invigorate the excitement and the demand more broadly. So it's great to have people launching new things. However, as I mentioned previously, we have a differentiated strategy. So PlayStation 5 is designed for an immersive gaming experience, and this includes the innovative DualSense controllers features as well. We believe PS5 level performance is required to achieve a great experience on big screens. And in this way, we have provided a unique offering for players and creators in this current console generation.
I didn't think he listened to the question very well when he answered that.
Nope.
Because that was not the answer to that question. Either that or the video cut him short. Because I don't want to say like he didn't answer the question because we didn't get to see the full answer. But he didn't answer the question up to the by the end of the video of that specific
just talking around the question. That's all that was.
Yeah, he answered it like a politician would.
Yes.
Right? Which is
if anybody here mental has heard enough of this type of speech, and he is him and Canada, he's had enough. He has had enough.
Yeah. If you want a good laugh, just watch our House of Commons debates. It's unbelievable how man, it's unreal. It's unreal. They never answer a freaking question. But anyway, yeah, that's what that made me think of immediately. Is he just didn't like the question, so he didn't answer it. He just talked about something else. And yeah, that is what it is, I guess.
Okay, but before we tee off on this, I want you now, Cozy. You got the full or you got a good scope of what they're kind of feeling as of recently now. Now, go on ahead and continue with what you were saying.
I still think they sound so stuck in the past. He's talking about the big screen and the blah, blah, blah. Like, a lot of young people, they didn't grow up caring about the big screen. They didn't grow up caring about single player. We've already seen the data. No one's playing their games like that. They're playing their favorite game that their favorite streamer is playing, and they aren't playing PlayStation exclusive. The games nowadays are much more about, something that you can share. I mean, so it's like you can come up with the best single player games, but the problem is if they're expensive and they aren't making that money back, and you're not getting new blood who cares about them because, kids these days just want to goof off with their friends in Fortnite. Then yeah, that's where you end up with.
Okay. All right. So Cozy feels that they're kind of still stuck in old man, ways of I guess the way new folks would put it, or the current day kids, or people in their young or later teens, is like Boomer is still trying to convince us that this is cool when it's really kind of old news. And I'm happy with the Boomer stuff, to be honest, because I don't mind the older kind of stuff, the Doom, the classic thing. But I see what Cozy's saying, like we're kind of the minority, and they want to still kind of hit us with those single player bangers, which they have had, and they've had a couple this generation as well. I'm not going to sit here and act like every game that came out with was ass this generation. It was not. No. They had some they had some solid games this generation so far. It's just that
I play a lot of single player games. Don't get me wrong.
And recently, Helldivers was a banger that they came out with that that they published. So so they have good games over there. It's just like their whole, as we just got done saying, their messaging has not really made a whole lot of sense, and they've definitely put an emphasis on something that they don't really know how to control whatsoever, and they keep getting embarrassed. Whether it was with their recent purchase that they got, and they expected that to take off, and it didn't. And then the game that they were supposed to make from that studio supposed to get bigger. Now that's looking like it's going to be delayed until at least next year. It's supposed to come out later this year, I believe in like October or September or something like that. That game was supposed to come out. So now they're already screwing up in multiple facets with that game. And then they have a game that they took off the table completely that you can't even buy. So like, it's just, they've taken that direction. And then now that kind of fell apart, they're kind of saying, well, we're going to promise you one single player game per year to be, you know, in a good state to come out and be something that you're kind of looking for, I guess. And I'm just like, man, is that enough to you guys? Because the way you guys are sitting on that couch and the way that guy is asking you them questions about investors being a little nervous, it doesn't really sound like you got, you know, it doesn't really, I mean, look at the guy's face right now on the far right. He's the one that's asking questions. He doesn't look like he got his answer.
It looks like when they look at the camera in the office or Parks and Rec.
He does.
But I think PlayStation, when it comes to hardware and then when it comes to third party, they will be fine when it comes to that. But that guy in the chair in the far right was talking about how they're spending money on their own IP. And he didn't have a solid answer other than we make PlayStation to be a good experience on your TV. And it's just like, bro, we're 5 years into the generation. We know what the PlayStation is already. You don't have to tell us what the PlayStation is right now. Mental, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, they don't differ greatly from what Cozy said. I think, man, I've got a bunch of different thoughts rolling around in my head, and I'm actually, I'm planning on making a video about it because I think the gaming landscape, there's some stuff coming, I think, just based on what I'm watching happen with the business and junk, that I think is going to be very disruptive to what a lot of people have in their minds about what gaming is and what console.
Can you give an example?
It's not a fully fleshed out thought yet, but the direction that Microsoft is taken, I think there's more to it than meets the eye. That's all I'll say. And you know, I want to really think it through before I say too much more than that. But I think there's some, you know, just based on what I know about corporate world and stuff, you know, I've been working in a 100,000 plus employee corporation for close to 30
What are you
years,
thinking, like
so-
market manipulation or something like that?
No. I'm just thinking strategy, right? Because the whole strategy seems pretty messed up when you think about it in terms of console, right? Like it's really throwing a bunch of people for a loop, and I'm thinking what could be going on strategically that would better support this beyond just the strategy now with the new consoles that we talked about a long time ago, right? And what we talked about today. There's got to be more to it, I keep thinking in my head. So I've got some ideas as to what I think could be coming. And if it actually happens that way, it'll be even more disruptive than what we've seen with the console stuff. And I don't know that Sony... I think it feels to me like Sony's still playing chess and Microsoft's already on to 4D chess. And, you know, Sony's polishing their grenades and Microsoft is building nuclear warheads. And, you know, if it comes right down to it, I think it's going to be very disruptive to the model that they want to keep intact. And, you know,
I mean, the cloud has already shown that. What's happening with the cloud gaming.
Yeah, and I mean that's one thing. I mean, if we want to talk cloud, then I mean I would say like Sony's cloud's better than Microsoft's cloud, which I didn't see coming. But
It is.
I'm always impressed with how amazingly well games play off Sony's cloud platform. For something that when it was PS Now was tragic, like it was hard to do anything. The compression artifacts were terrible. Input latency was brutal. it's really good now. It's really good, especially like the cloud beta with the portal. It feels almost like you're playing locally. It's quite impressive.
I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you xCloud is better than PlayStation's, but have you recently tried to play xCloud? Because it has improved a ton from
Just
what
in the
it
last
was.
like 6 months, I haven't, because I haven't had Game Pass Ultimate.
I don't know
for
if
6
you
months
have
now.
either, Cozy, but I mean,
I have.
Matt, but I know Matt plays on it like almost every night.
I said I play on my phone, so I mostly play on the cloud.
And it is area dependent too, right? So it could just be
True.
where I was or I live. The last time I used it, it's just not up to the standards that you guys get for an experience. But I mean, it felt, even graphically, it did not look anywhere near as crisp as what I get with PlayStation. Streaming locally, like if I want to just stream, say I'm upstairs or whatever with my Steam Deck and I want to stream off my Series X, that's pretty good, right? Like if it could, but the cloud experience was nowhere near that experience for me, right?
I think you should try it again and tell me if you still feel the same. Because just to compare and contrast.
Yeah, I'd have to. I think like I'll probably subscribe to
For
Ultimate
science.
for a month at some point in the future again, just for a month to try a bunch of the games that they're coming out eventually here. But for now, I have no desire to get Game Pass Ultimate again. So it is what it is. But if I went apples to apples like 6 months ago, Sony was way ahead. I'll trust you when you say that it's improved dramatically since then.
Yeah, I think Sony's cloud infrastructure, Sony's cloud service works very well. The problem is the infrastructure, I think, and the setup for it sucks. So it's not worth it. It was worth it when it was cheaper, but at the price it is now, I wouldn't invest in that.
Yeah, I did a top up before they raised their prices.
Oh,
way back
okay.
when. So I had like a couple years or 3 years or something in advance. I'm not sure when it runs out. I don't know that I'll renew it either. I don't use it that often. I typically, if I'm using my portal, I'm streaming from my PlayStation. And it's the same way I use my Steam Deck for Xbox. It just streams from my console. And it's just if I'm sitting somewhere else in the house where I don't have access to it or whatever, right? I want to play a bit while I'm laying in bed or something like that, and then I'll do that. But I don't know.
C4 Skills.
Sorry? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say C4 Skills says, can you play PlayStation Cloud on your phone through mobile network? I believe you can. Yeah.
I believe so.
I don't see why not.
Yeah. I've had the cloud on my. I have the cloud currently on my Steam Deck, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do it on your phone as well. It's just like something that you download real quick. It's not very hard, but the only issue with that sometimes, or the issue that I ran into is when I tried to load up my Horizon Forbidden West data, it came from a PS4, which doesn't have smart delivery, so it told me to restart the game. So there is definitely maybe some of that saving issue that I don't really like. That's that kind of still poses as a frustration for me, but I mean it works fine.
Yeah, I don't think you can play the cloud on your phone. I just looked at the app and there's no option for cloud streaming. It's only streamed from your console.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, no, there's
Well,
cloud.
I mean, I can do it I can do it on my Steam Deck, so why wouldn't I be able to do it on my phone?
Well, you're using
I mean, I know that's
party app, right? I'm
Is it
looking at the
because
PlayStation
that's a
app.
PC?
You're right.
Is it because
I
it's a
am
PC?
using a third-party app. You're right.
Oh, your third-party PC app. I know you
You're
could play it on PC.
It is a third party. I completely forgot it was a third-party app.
Yeah.
Until you mentioned that.
No worries, but yeah, it's
So there you go.
I
You
don't
can't.
see it on my phone. Yeah, I don't see it on my
I could have.
phone.
I could have swore you could.
And I think that's something that, because I saw a statement about cloud gaming, and that's something that it's been on the rise by a lot.
Yeah. As much
And I
as I
don't see
hate
it
to say
losing
it, it is getting better. But I'll always prefer the local experience.
Oh, I always prefer the local experience.
Hey, I will. I will. Always.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm all about options. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
no, I
what
like the option too. I agree. It's a great option for when you're out and about or whatever. But yeah,
I just got a guy at work to he wanted to play. He was telling me about how he wanted to play South of Midnight, but he couldn't, and because he only had a PS4 and a Switch. And I was like, "Oh, let me show you something amazing." And then like 2 days later, he was like, "Look at this! I got it!" And he was playing on his iPad with his
Yeah, it looks like the only thing you can do is remote play from your phone. Yep.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
That's really dumb.
See, I would get their premium service maybe a lot more if I could play it from my phone.
Yeah, that's wild. That
Go
you're
get a
paying for
PlayStation
the-
cozy, and then you can.
What's the no? I mean, you can play from your computer,
premium service.
but the idea is to completely unbind myself from specific hardware.
All right, so Matt, oh wait, well, anyways, let's move on. So, so Matt, you're the only person I haven't got to ask about this. So you just got done watching that almost 4-minute segment of what they had to say. You heard our thoughts about it. The direction and whatnot with PlayStation, they have, put up on here as well, platform business, consoles, and what do they say? Console and beyond. So there we go, right there.
Back
All right,
over
so
real quick. Why is there not a? Am I missing something? Is there not a PSVR there?
I think it'd be in the peripherals area, but no, there's
not there. Okay. But
there's no keyboard either, but whatever.
But yeah, that most of what that sounded like to me was I could have closed my eyes and thought that sounds a lot like Phil Spencer this past year. That sounds so much like Phil Spencer this past year. It's all about bringing games to players. Who's that sound like?
Yeah.
That sounds like Phil Spencer. That's so weird. But like at the same time, they're doing this whole thing of like, don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. We're not like, that might work for Xbox, but we're not doing that. We're not doing that, but we're gonna say the exact same things they're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on top of that, the fact that like every time there's like an interview with anybody from PlayStation, like they love reiterating, like they love hammering home the point of like what makes PlayStation so great is its first first party exclusives, its big single player games. When to Cozy's point, nobody fucking plays them. And I don't mean that like literally nobody, because I play them, I enjoy them, but really that's not what makes PlayStation money. They know that. I don't know why they keep getting up here and pretending like, yo, we need we need to have our single player exclusives like God of War, otherwise we're not going to make money. You're not going to make money off of that anyway. I don't know why every time they have this some form of this interview, that always comes up of like that's the thing that makes us the real money. No, it's not. It's not. I like it's just weird to me. It's just weird to me that like they keep falling back on that like that's this massive sacred thing when it's really not. It's just games and you don't sell enough of them. So,
all right, Mental, why are you smiling like that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm reading some of the chat, but
you look like you look like you're feeling some like sort of relief, like your headache has gone away, something like that.
Yeah, no, I was thinking more about what I'm kind of running through my own brain here too, and Yeah, I don't know. I one of the things I forgot to mention though is with Sony's business is I do expect that we're just ever so much closer to day and date on PC. That's one thing that I think is inevitable, and
We got
that
to bring games to
inevitability
players.
is quickly encroaching on Sony fanboys. So that's one thing I'll say. But yeah, I just if what I'm thinking is real and it happens, people are going to be in. It's going to change things dramatically. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I say, it's not
Okay,
fully
so-
fleshed out. I just get random thoughts going through my head, and I'm still piecing them together. But
Gotcha. So, okay,
Oh,
continue.
my bad. I was gonna say I was telling.
No,
I was telling you,
please.
Ham,
You're good.
I was telling you, Ham. There was a certain PlayStation fanboy who, like, crashed out because a third-party game was going to PC day and date.
yeah,
I'm like,
He ain't seen nothing yet.
if that's your reaction, it was Lost Soul Aside, by the way. If that's your reaction when Lost Soul Aside goes to PC day and date, oh boy, the next 5 years are gonna be fun. That's gonna be interesting.
All right. So one point I wanted to bring to the table, which by the way, I'm not again, I'm still uncertain what their strategy actually really is because it doesn't really sound like they really have their finger on the nail right now. Like Yote is one game I'm looking forward to from them. Is it my most excited game for the rest of the year? No. But like going from there, I just don't know what to look forward to from PlayStation right now. And they had that state of play. And
Oh man.
if that state of play told me anything, it just told me that the studios and games that I think are coming, that they're still a ways away from coming. Like I really anticipated to see something from Santa Monica. That's okay though. What I really expected to see, like really expected to see, was something from Soros. That's not even like a super duper anticipated game for me, but like it's like they showed a little peek on it, and I wanted to see a little bit more.
Yeah.
The only thing that they really gave me hype for at all was like, and I'm talking about like first party studios in particular. I mean, there was some pretty nice looking fighting games out there, especially if you're into fighters. That was a great showcase for fighter. For people that are into fighters. Great showcase for that. But I was just kind of looking for like a more of a narrative story game or RPG or something, you know, that I'm more or less interested in, or maybe something from some of their tentpole franchises that they have. And it just like even Ghost of Yote was like, see you soon. Like it didn't really do anything there. Like I anticipated them to say "see you soon" for that because it's just like I feel like that game does deserve some time and respect. But I felt like that game deserved the time and respect that you gave that game at the end. Which maybe it's not the time for Yote to come out and talk about it, which that's fine. But like I didn't expect that to be their last thing that they showed, to be the biggest bang at the end of their show, to be so much talking and not like, oh my God, what did I just watch? That was super cool. Like it just ended up kind of being kind of like, okay, I guess I'll just wait. And that's kind of what PlayStation has felt like the last couple years outside of third party. It's just like, Spider-Man's cool, but like a month later, then I'm like, all right, well, my PlayStation's getting dusty again.
Yeah, that's my problem. not to harp so much on it, but the showcase, the state of play, that was my problem with it. Like there wasn't things that most of the things that were there I didn't care about, which is whatever. A lot of shows, most of the things that are at most shows, I don't care about. It's very rare that there's a show where it's like I care about so many things. That's a rare occurrence. It's the problem that they could have had. Dude, they could have announced Santa Monica's game last. That would have been so hype, but then they would have ended it with like 10 minutes of just talking. I don't care. Like, put that in a different showcase. That's it. Like, tons of people care about that Marvel Fighter. Tons of people care about it, and that's great.
And I thought that was cool. I just didn't like all the talking that they did at the end because it didn't really inform me on the game. It just informed me on how passionate they were to make it, and that's something that you can have on an after show kind of talk separate on their YouTube channel kind of thing. That's great to hear. Xbox learned that the hard way where people are like, dude, we don't want to hear this shit. Like remember a few years back where they had the long Age of Empires thing and everybody was just like, get this shit out of here.
Yep.
Like nobody wants to sit in the middle of a showcase where you're showing off brand new games. Nobody wants to hear about what the developer thinks about a catapult. Like nobody cares about that. So
hey, that was the highlight of the show for me.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not even just a Sony thing. As much as people want to say, "Oh, you're just hating because it's a Sony thing," no, it's a you brought me here to get hyped. This isn't hype. This like that just wasn't hype. Now, one thing I wanted to point out to you before we leave this part of the topic and get to our last, to the come down of all the showcases in general. The guy for the guy that was talking about the investors here on the far right, he mentioned a little bit about Xbox, sure. But when he was talking about the investors and their worry and working with third party and stuff like that, he straight up mentioned Nintendo. And that's something that we've talked about on here, right? We've talked about how now that this Switch 2 is out and it's more powerful, it already is showcasing a game like Cyberpunk out for it and stuff that this thing is going to be eating up third-party games much more than the past few, I would say past 3 generations, right? Like the Switch, the Wii U, and the Wii, right? The Wii is really where they fell off on third-party. It started prior to that. Like the GameCube was tough, right? But like the Wii was just like the developers looked at the people with the Wii and said like nah. Like I remember Activision in particular was just like, yo, we just like y'all are just too goddamn weak. like we're good on that, right? So that are willing to throw anything at like anywhere that they possibly can, they were like, yo, this Wii, this just ain't it. So, but now that the Switch 2 is out, and we already know from the court hearing of Microsoft, versus the CMA and also the FTC, that Switch 2 or Nintendo in general has a 10-year deal to get more active, opening up to get like something like a Call of Duty on their platform and other big time titles, and that extends more to than just 10-year deal to Microsoft. Obviously, they got CD Projekt Red and other businesses that they're looking to get deeper into as well. I'm sure EA is going to be somewhere around there as well. I'm gonna go to you first, Matt, because I haven't went to you first on anything yet today. What is your kind of thought process with hearing what these guys kind of had to say about the fear of Nintendo becoming more of a threat with their device being more third-party prominent?
I mean, what did they even really say? They just talked about their DualSense controller. I just like, I think it's a good question. The guy asked a good question. I think it's
You want me to
valid.
go back and rehear the question one more time?
No, I know the question. It's just the fact that he
Okay.
didn't really answer it.
Yeah.
He didn't. He got the question and skirted around it, but it was a good question. I think it was a fair question to ask. But it's like at the end of the day, we all know the PS5 is regardless of how cool the Switch 2 is or how much better it is than the Switch 1, it's still more powerful. There's no one that's going to really debate that. But like it's just one of those things. I would think that if you're PlayStation and even Xbox, even though they do have a different business strategy, I would think that's something you probably have to be thinking about at least. I mean, whether you want to answer that in an interview, it's definitely something that you got to be thinking about is how much how much third party support the Switch is going to be getting now. I mean, they got Cyberpunk ran on that shit better than way better than it ran on last gen, like way better than it ran on last gen consoles. Also using DLSS and in some cases looking sharper than current consoles. So it's something that probably should be talked about for sure. It's just kind of weird that he didn't really give a solid answer, I guess.
Okay. So Cozy,
Yes.
do you remember the question that was asked, or do you need to hear the question
Repeat
again?
it to me after. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you need to hear it again. Got it. So let me go back. All right, so right here.
These theses, I believe.
Some investors, to be quite honest, are concerned that the improved specifications of the Switch 2 and Nintendo's improved relationships with third-party publishers will lead to tougher competition for PlayStation in the next few years. What do you think about those concerns?
So I think
Do you need to hear it again, Cozy?
no. So I think the concern is kind of like, so the big issue is Nintendo is frugal in a way that PlayStation can't be. PlayStation, they made themselves about these big spectacle single player games, and that's what's dragging them down. Nintendo, they were like, we're going to operate within our budget. They know how to manage a budget. They know how to make games. They have a very, I always say this, the game centric design, the game design philosophy that they have means their games are for the most part going to do well. Even the ones that are like smaller sellers, you remember that list we pulled up that one time about their list of like their games that sold 1 million plus, and it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
And they're crazy cheap to be made, right? So they're getting stupid profits.
And people aren't going to fall for the, I'll have to buy it at top dollar with PlayStation like they do for Nintendo. Because Nintendo, that was they set that precedent early on. PlayStation set a precedent in a space, in the same space that, Xbox gamers exist and that PC gamers exist. And that's a different space, different set of expectations. And so you're not really going to see probably people flocking from Nintendo to PlayStation. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think a lot of people on Switch will start picking up more games that are outside of the Nintendo threshold if they're available, because there are people who they just have a Switch, and if they see like, oh, this game is available on Switch, I'll try it there. So I don't necessarily see a whole lot in the realm of like, oh, it's going to be let's be honest, they already killed them in Japan. And they also, they get PlayStation benefit and problem is both that they're the de facto console. You don't play a PlayStation because more exclusives. I know the people who love them, but Astrobot that like 2 million people bought, it was game of the year. They'll tell you that. But the reality is you buy a PlayStation because you want to play Call of Duty and FIFA.
Yep.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
not wrong. When I look at my PlayStation friends list, it always shocks me when I see someone playing a PlayStation exclusive because 99% of the time they're just playing multiplayer games that are third party. It's just the
Yeah.
reality.
Okay, so then I got to ask you, Mental, the same question that I asked these last two people. So Nintendo is, or the gentleman on the far right asked, the question of, investors are getting a little bit nervous with seeing Nintendo divulge further into third party, seeing that Nintendo has, and I mean, just to give you or more or less the people out there some context, because I know you already know, but Nintendo hasn't really been heavy in the third party scene since like the GameCube, pretty much, right? So, like, what is your kind of thought process with what is kind of being said here? I know there's like he didn't really answer any question or whatnot, but like, do you think that Nintendo is any sort of a threat as he put investors think it is for whatever reason? But do you think Nintendo is some sort of a threat because they're allowing more third party games to be on their platform?
Honestly, no. I don't think so. You're kind of talking. I'll use the phrase that Sony coined, which is the high-end console market. No matter what you think of the Switch 2, it's still not a high-end console. And most of the people that I know that have a Switch play with it in the handheld mode. They're not playing it on their TV, really. I know a couple guys that will do that occasionally, but it's mostly a handheld device.
That's how I play the Switch, is through the dock.
Oh, do you? Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't like playing it handheld that much because I don't think it's. I haven't tried the Switch 2, but the original Switch is not the most comfortable device for me to play on for very long. So I have to put.
Yeah, they're small.
Yeah, and
right?
then it's just like I like just I don't know the feel of it, just like the Switch controller around my hand. Like I feel like I'm gripping like half of my hand's gripping nothing, and I don't like that.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. I guess what I'm thinking more in terms of maybe how kids would use it, right?
I'm also not a Switch guy, so I'm not that
Me
person.
neither. But I don't think it's true competition to the current, like what you'd coin as high-end consoles. They operate on a different plane in many respects. I think a lot of the people that own a Switch, if they're more of a quote gamer, they probably have a PlayStation or an Xbox or a PC that they're playing the serious games on. And most of those third party, like you want the best experience you can get. Sure, it's cool, you can play it on this handheld and take it with you, but let's face it, I'm not buying a Switch to play Cyberpunk. Right? That's just the reality. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I can play it on my Steam Deck, I guess, if I want to play it on a handheld, and I've tried it, but it's just not the experience I'm looking for with a game like that. So, maybe there's a bit or a small portion of the Sony game base that might go, oh wow, I got this Switch too. It's awesome. I don't really need a PlayStation. That'll last until the PlayStation 6 comes out. That's the reality, I think. I wouldn't be too worried about it if I was Sony.
This is great. You know why? I disagree with all three of you.
Oh.
Okay.
Hamothy has an original
I
thought.
disagree. Yeah. Look at me sitting on my high horse.
I'll
But
be honest,
anyways,
I didn't really hear I heard a bit of what Cozy said. I didn't really hear what Matt said because I had to step away from it. But
No, like Matt agreed with you in a lot of the ways that like he didn't think that it was too much of like competition versus like PlayStation doing what PlayStation does, right? And like in a way, I agree with you guys in that sentiment, right? Like they're gonna have their crowd of people that are gonna continuously get PlayStations, you know, the 6, the 7, the 8. But like the whole point of these things and these new renditions of these consoles are to gain a bigger audience than they prior had. Right? So like PlayStation's fine if fine is losing to the Switch all the time. Do you see what I'm saying? Like they're fine if you're saying, can they conduct business? Yes. Can they beat the Switch? Which I think maybe this guy is talking about with investors, right? Like, can this thing rival something like that? When somebody goes to the store and they see, you know, Elden Ring is played on both of these things and one's $400 cheaper, which is going to be the first thing that that a normie reaches for. And I think that's where that third party access and people that just want to play the game, they don't really care who they're playing it with, like being it PlayStation, Nintendo, or whatnot. And keep in mind, this is as time is moving along. So we're talking about a year by the time where my daughter is maybe in high school or something like that at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about maybe another generation from now, maybe not the Switch 2 in particular, but like the trend is really what Cozy's been talking about for, I feel like, years at this point. Is it's just like it's following the trend because sure, if Xbox wants to come out and make another console, let's say they didn't even do this handheld. They just made another console, did the same thing that they did previously. I'd probably buy it. Matt might buy it. Other folks that are usuals to the Xbox will buy it. So will they have a crowd of people that are willing to buy something? Sure. Same with PlayStation. Same with Nintendo. But the plan at the end of the day, the plan of all of this, the only reason you come out with a next edition of something is to keep the last thing somewhat relevant, but to push further and attract more people than you didn't attract the previous time. So I think PlayStation, in the sense of will they be fine? Yes, I totally think they will be fine. Will they? But the question is are they okay not beating the Switch? Because that's what it looks like to me. The guy's asking to me, that guy on the end is asking, hey, what are you guys doing to slow down that train over there? Because they're gaining momentum. What they didn't have last generation, they now have. And it's going into a device that's still cheaper than what you're offering. What are you doing to slow that down? And they said, we're giving you a PS5. That wasn't the answer that the guy was looking for, but that's what they said. And then they said that they're sticking to what they've been doing, which we could see that they're not really doing that. Seawolf says Switch 2 is not selling out. Yes, it is. Switch 2 is selling out. They're just taking a exactly. They're selling it in a different way so people can't scalp and stuff like that. People are going to these stores asking for it. I went to Best Buy yesterday. There was no Switches there. And I'm not saying that I can't find a Switch somewhere in town, but the purpose of what they're doing to sell the Switch this time is to make it accessible for a person like you to actually find one around town instead of having to hop online and see a scalper selling it for $900. I actually appreciate. I know we give Nintendo a lot of flack. I appreciate the way that they're coming out with this console because they're actually getting it into the right people's hands first and doing their best to. I'm sure there's still scalpers, but they've made sure to like lock down to where certain companies can't even sell the Switch. They can't.
Yes, Seawolf, it's selling even with $80 games.
Also, what you're saying, Ham, something that happened. So, console audiences in general have gotten increasingly older. I remember the Wii and the Wii U audience, the average age was like in their 30s. But something happened with the Switch around the pandemic, and they actually got an influx of younger people, young adults, like people in their early 20s. And I think that might also help the Switch. Is that for a lot of younger people, it became their primary gaming method.
Yeah, it became their tablet.
Sorry, I had to step away again here, but I think the question is that you're asking: are they okay with being second place, more or less, right? Never beating Nintendo in sales. So that's probably why they're attempting to build a handheld too, or at least according to rumors. I don't think they've officially announced anything, but a device that's more local, I guess. For gaming rather than just the portal. But I don't know. I think it's just like you say, they're going to be fine regardless, and I don't think that they're necessarily that concerned about the Switch and its market. That's just the sense I get. I don't know, but and to your point about the Switch being sold out, I could go to Best Buy and buy one today if I wanted to. They're not selling out here, but they're also a lot more money than they are in the US, so that could be why.
Okay, I'm confused. Is Seawolf arguing with me in the chat?
I don't know what Seawolf is doing.
Because he's saying let's see how Outer Worlds 2 will sell then, Matt, since you love $80 price tags. I don't know when I've ever got on here and said I love $80 games. Maybe somebody made an AI video of that, but I've never in my life said that. I don't know. I don't know where you're getting this. But God bless you. God bless you.
All right. So last but not least, we are gonna talk just briefly because we've hit the 2-hour mark. It's about time.
Oh.
Sorry. But I wanted to talk a little bit about like our excitement from what had happened in the last like week and a half with the showcases. There was a lot of games that were presented. A lot of really interesting things were shown. At the Summer Game Fest, I was really surprised to see what was that? Atomic Heart 2 was there.
Yeah.
The PlayStation showcase, that they showed a few games. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Yote State of Play when that's supposed to be coming out. The Xbox showcase, to me, Clockwork Revolution was like the biggest thing shown there. But I want to go around to everybody and just kind of see what games did you maybe pick up out of that showcase. And I know I said a couple that Matt, but I'm sure he has more than just the ones that I just said. But I'm gonna go to you first, Cozy. What games from the showcases, if any, interested you at all?
Okay, I'm gonna start with Planet of Lana 2. That game, so as long as I can recall, I hate platformers. And then I realized I hate platformers where you have to try and kill and actiony do things. I like puzzle platformers. They're fun. Yeah. So Planet of Lana 2, Outer Worlds, I'm excited about it. I love the first one. It's like one of the I think the first Outer Worlds was the second time I ever bought DLC. And Borderlands 2, like, PS3, 360 was was when I bought DLC before. That's like that long of a gap between when I ever bought DLC. Clockwork Revolution, that looked good. Trying to think of what else. I can't think. I think most of the games, that one horror game, I was like, nope. Don't do that. Nope.
Ew. Dude.
I don't remember. I just said no.
Yeah, I know exactly what. This is the one where
But
they kick the baby.
Yeah, it's ill. It's ill.
Piece de resistance. The creme de la creme. Grounded 2. Grounded 2.
There she goes.
I was not expecting that. I was not prepared for that. My goodness. That I was like, yes. As soon as they showed it, I immediately knew. They didn't have to show it. I was like, this is Grounded 2. And then I was like, at first I thought it was an expansion though. But then I was like, it's Grounded 2? The game is Grounded 2? Yes, Grounded 2. Grounded 2. Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, Grounded 2 was clearly Cozy's favorite game that was shown. Mental, do you have anything from the showcases that you were excited about?
Nothing that I've bought, but there are some games that I'm interested in, if not like really interested in. And there's probably a few others that I'm just not thinking of right now. I was just throwing down a few notes, but Ill is one that I'm interested in. I love those types of games, so I definitely want to see more about that. Chronos, in that same vein, I'm interested in that. And of course, RE9 is like big time interested in. That one I'm really looking forward to. I agree with Cozy on the Clockwork Revolution and Outer Worlds 2. And then one that maybe is not as popular of opinion, COD Black Ops 7, I found a little bit intriguing just with what direction they're going there. I'm not sure. It gave me the Black Ops 3 vibes. And I kind of, like, I know it wasn't super well received, that campaign, but I quite enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with Black Ops 3. I've played that campaign more than once. So, yeah, those are the ones that I'm thinking of right off the top of my head. You might mention something, I'll go, oh yeah, that one too. But for now, that's the ones I'm thinking of. But again, I'm probably not going to buy any of these at launch, just to be fully transparent, just because I don't pay full price for games. So I'll wait till there's a sale price on all of them. And that's likely how I'll go about playing them.
All right, well. All right, so Matt, you've seen a lot of what happened the last week. You actually got to see all of it, like all the games and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. So I want you to tell me why Final Fantasy VII was the best.
Final Fantasy VII was the best because it's simply the greatest game ever made, and I love it. And you can check my account. I've got thousands of hours in Final Fantasy VII, so already on Xbox, I've defied time. I got way more hours than humanly possible.
That's impressive.
It is.
That's like
but
some
it's just,
time slip shit.
It's just because it's my favorite. The lengths I go to for the best series in entertainment, like Final Fantasy, it's impressive. In all seriousness, it's cool that it's there, I guess. I know people wanted it for a while, and for those people, awesome, fantastic, happy for you.
Buy it.
I just don't care about Final Fantasy, really. I've tried the remake. I've tried multiple times to get into this remake. I even tried a long time ago when I was a kid, the original Final Fantasy VII, and my friend was like, "Oh, you're gonna love this game. It's incredible." And dude, it just puts me to sleep. Just puts me to sleep. Even the thought of it. But if we're talking about like all the stuff I liked from the showcases, I mean, it'd be kind of there's so much stuff. So I guess I'll kind of go in order here. Like out of the PlayStation showcase, 007 was the thing. Prog Model looks interesting. I still don't know what that game is. No idea what that game is. And then in terms of
007,
summer,
yes.
yeah, dude, 007 looks so good, and I'm really glad it's IO Interactive. I'm doing that. And then going to Summer Games Fest. I mean, they opened the show up with Mortal Shell 2. And again, like I'm not a Souls guy. I'm not into those kind of games like 99% of the time, minus Elden Ring. But like just that trailer was one of the coolest trailers of the showcase season. Just because like I love metal music. There's not many trailers outside of like Doom, obviously, where like metal music plays a very heavy part, and it did some really heavy lifting in that trailer, and it was really cool to see. Plus, the game looks badass. So, Mortal Shell 2, also at Summer Games Fest, you mentioned it, Atomic Heart.
They're right here.
Dude.
Read the screen real quick.
Oh, what's up? Atomic Heart was a best trailer, dude. The only reason I would say it's not the best trailer is because of Clockwork. If Clockwork didn't show up, or if they had a different trailer, Atomic Heart would take the cake. Because
Atomic Heart might take the cake for me, man. But continue,
dude. Atomic Heart's trailer, because there was a couple days before the Summer Games Fest where Munfish was like, "Hey, we're gonna be at SGF. Be sure to tune in." And I'm like, I feel like I was thinking, like most people, oh, they're doing an Atomic Heart DLC again. Because I think they have another one coming out later this year. It's probably more info on that. Whatever, that's cool. But dude, they dropped the sequel announcement. And that shit looks like I was telling you, Ham, that looks like they're trying to do Cyberpunk and the Atomic Heart universe. And that's incredible stuff, because that universe is just so awesome. That entire world is just so awesome. And then they followed that up with the announcement of an Atomic Heart MMORPG, which I mean, I don't know about anybody else here. I don't love MMORPGs, but I'll play anything in the Atomic Heart universe. And if that turns out to be fun, like a fun thing that people are actually, dude, I'm so down for that. And then sticking with Munfish again, Cozy mentioned it and Mental mentioned it, and for two opposite reasons. But dude, looks so insane. It looks absolutely horrifying. I'm probably gonna hate myself playing it, but I'm probably gonna have a bunch of fun too. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the Xbox showcase, dude. Again, Clockwork Revolution showed out. Like that went from a game that I'm I was pretty interested in to like probably my most anticipated thing. I mean, outside of Elder Scrolls 6, obviously. That might be my most anticipated thing from Xbox. And then on top of that, you got Blood of the Dawn Walker. We saw some gameplay for that. I mean, we also I know everybody was kind of down on that ending to the Xbox showcase, and I was kind of the same way. I personally didn't love that they ended with COD, but in terms of a Call of Duty like campaign trailer or teaser, whatever you want to call that, that looked like one of the more interesting ones I've ever seen. Because like I was watching that with Mike, Bill, and Blind, and we were all like, "Dude, is this like Remedy or something? Is Remedy announcing a new game?" And then it turns out to be Call of Duty, and I'm like, "What the fuck did you guys just do?" But it looks cool. It looks really cool for Call of Duty. Outer Worlds 2, the deep dive, the direct was amazing. That game looks awesome. I can't wait to play that. High on Life 2 was a big surprise. The new Plague Tale. I mean, dude, there's so much stuff. Across all these showcases, there's just so much stuff. Chronos is another one. The fact that Game Freak was at Xbox's show, I mean, there's just a ton of stuff that happened this week. A lot of stuff to be excited about.
Yeah.
Okay, I kick the baby. Don't kick the goddamn baby. Yeah!
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
I just
love
love
it.
that. I love that. Oh man. But anyways, yeah, that showcase season was pretty good. PlayStation 1 let me down just a little bit. I gave it like I thought I gave it like a 7 or a 6.5 or something.
It's more
Matt
generous
wanted to
than
give
I
it a
was.
-1.
I gave
I
it
gave it a 1.
I gave it a solid 4.
I mean, they did have a couple games there that I wanted to play. It just wasn't like mind blowing to me at all. 007 looked really good. What's that? Whatchamacallit is a Dead Man game looked really good.
Romeo.
Yeah, Romeo's a Dead
yeah.
Man. The Pragmata looked interesting. I still to this day don't understand the little girl on his back though. I'm not sure if I love that.
No idea what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that a whole lot, just because it's just weird. But anyways, I didn't go without not wanting to play anything out of that show. So I felt like I got to give it some. I'll give it a 6.5. I'll stick with that 6.5. But
That was the worst
yeah,
show
so
of the ones I saw.
yeah, that
By
was the
far.
worst of the 3. Summer games, I mean, I think Matt kind of nailed it on the head. I'd have to say Atomic Heart was my favorite thing there. And it kind of wasn't close. It just looked like they just evolved so much in that world. And it also seems like you're going to be able to do a lot more than you could prior. That you could do prior in the game, which I thought the game before was good, but it was very limiting. Driving the car in that game, like there's very rare occurrences in games where I don't want to drive a car. And Atomic Heart was that game where I was just like, dude, I hate the car in this game. It sucks. Like driving stunk. The car itself stunk. It felt like you could break it apart in like a few seconds, and it wasn't very easy to get around. So it made driving the car like feel even more pointless because it's like, man, I feel like I can just run over there quicker than I could getting into this car. So I don't like it when video games do that. Like, why put a car in a game when it's easier for me just to get out and just run? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So, but it looked like a huge upgrade. The MMO looked mad interesting. Ill looked great, as I showed the little video right there, the little baby thing getting kicked in the mouth. But the creepy part of Ill to me is when those like zombie things are chasing you, and then all of a sudden this mech just comes around the corner, and it just like didn't even think twice. It just one shots him, and then it's like, "Hi, I see you. Come here." And I was ready to run for that person. Like, God damn, that did not look very safe at all.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that was a pretty good showcase. They had some dead moments within it, but that's kind of the summer game fest I come to expect. They got things that aren't for me, some things that are for me. But the Xbox showcase is what won, which has been the one that won the last few years for me consistently at this point. Clockwork Revolution was like the top thing being shown there. In my opinion, I'm excited to try out Outer Worlds. I'm not the biggest Outer Worlds fan, but I'm excited to see how they made that game better and just more fun all around. Gears, I'm of course looking to try that beta out this weekend. There's quite a bit to take away, but I mean, a lot of it is still like kind of hurry up and wait for me. 2026 seems like it's gonna be a big year. Exiting out, I know Matt, you heard a little bit from Mint Blitz yesterday talking about Halo. Next year is supposed to be Xbox's like 25th anniversary, and I just kind of wanted to end this segment with each of us kind of guessing or saying what they're hoping to look forward to from Xbox on their 25th year in the sense of output of games, because obviously it's supposed to be a big year for them, right? Because it's his 25th year anniversary. But GTA 6 will be coming out, so they can't come out, swinging jabs. Like they got to throw some haymakers out there to actually garner any kind of attention from anybody. So, first person I'm gonna ask Cozy is the first person I'm gonna ask is Cozy. What do you want to see for Xbox's 25th anniversary? What do you want to see get announced?
Viva Pinata.
Every time.
Okay.
Every time.
You're consistent.
But I would also like them to bring back that museum and make it a permanent fixture.
Yeah, that museum thing was kind of cool.
It was cool, and then they were just like, "Okay, bye."
Yeah, bye now.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, because they did it for the 20th anniversary, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had that bookmarked, and then one day it was just gone.
Tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should bring that back. I would love to see that back. But those are the two big things.
Viva Pinata in a museum. All right, we all have different things that we're looking forward to here. So Matt, 25th anniversary. What call outs are you looking for?
I mean, I think I'm about to say here, buddy. It's time for that Halo Combat Evolved remake. That's listen. Here, I'm very excited for Fable. I think Fable is going to be a very big game. It's going to be really cool to see another Forza. Obviously, Gears of War E-Day, Phil mentioned. But like, out of those, Halo trumps it all for me. Obviously, 343 Halo Studios needs to land the launch and everything of that game, but seemingly it is a real thing that is happening, and Phil Spencer did hint at it next year, so that is the thing I'm looking forward to from Xbox next year most.
All right, mental.
I'm with Matt on the Halo thing for sure. That is the number one thing I'd be looking forward to. Kind of expect maybe a Forza would be timely right around then too, but who knows? And we already mentioned Gears, so there's the trifecta. If they manage to get new ones of those out for 2025, that'd be cool. Or their 25th year, I mean. Maybe something weird like one of the titles from the OG Xbox, like a remaster. I don't know. Crimson Skies was pretty popular, something like that. It might be apt to bring back for the 25th year if they, were being all covert and keeping it quiet. That'd be a bit of a bombshell to drop something like that. And as your 25th anniversary present, here you go. Something like that could be cool too. Having just replayed a few things on my OG Xbox, that would be neat to see a re-release or remasters or whatever. Actually, probably a full remake would be the best way to go about it. But I don't know, things like that. But Halo is the number one thing on my wish list. I love Halo and be looking forward to playing a new version of that.
I think, all right, so I'm last on this one. I think it's going to be a wild year, and I'm going to shoot for the stars on this one. This is going to be wild.
Ooh.
I think that we're going to see something with Splinter Cell, Ubisoft, Xbox collabo. I feel like we're going to see something with that. I feel like also we're going to see Gears of War, E-Day, obviously, have an announced and release date or release window. Fable, I think, is going to be there as well as Forza, just like Mental got done saying. Lastly, I think I think Halo's going to be there as well, right? Because I feel like they got to have something ready
Halo Reach Farming Sim.
for Halo. And maybe they even freak us out with and this is how I think it might be presented. I think they may announce a new Elder Scrolls game next year.
Announce a new one as in not Elder Scrolls 6?
Yeah, I think they might show something with that Elder Scrolls 6, right?
Okay. I like it.
And there's going to be an outline of a new console that it goes to.
So,
okay.
Speaking of hardware, going back now a couple of years, I kind of figured 2026 would be the year for the next launch. So it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, I was thinking just in terms of software, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a new console next year, especially given their new direction.
Exactly.
So-
And that's kind of what I'm thinking with all this integration and stuff that's going on, and then them canceling a personal handheld from themselves, but reiterating that they're still working on something for a next generation. I think that what perfect time would it be to announce that than a 25th anniversary, and then with something as popular as an Elder Scrolls to go on it, something that sold crazy amounts and has a lot of history with Xbox.
Or even reliving the Combat Evolved launch with a new Xbox could be pretty cool.
I mean, both of them. Why not? I mean, like I
Yeah,
said, I'm
exactly.
reaching for the skies on mine, but like, I really think that something like that is possible to see next year because they said it's a big year. They kind of, I feel like they got a lot of interest in people with talking about the ROG Xbox handheld thing, but they lost a lot of people with it not being something from them in particular. So I feel like next year coming out with a ton of, Halo, Gears, and Forza, brand new with a new Fable and, maybe an Elder Scrolls and whatnot, and an announcement of a new device made specifically from them would reinvigorate a lot of people's thought process when it comes to Xbox and how they may be handling their own personal hardware.
New console with those games and announcement of a full emulation for the back compat and game preservation.
Ooh,
man, oh man,
goodness gracious!
that would
Can I
be that would be something.
Can I throw in Fallout 3 Remaster? Let's say Fallout 3 Remaster.
Why not?
I would love that.
Yeah,
I would
that was
love
my
that.
favorite Fallout.
My
far.
my
I love
second,
Fallout 3.
my favorite 3D one, but it's my
Fallout
favorite
3.
one, but my favorite is 2.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, let's go on ahead and get up out of here, though. It was a pretty good show. Each topic, I mean, that's why I only had 3. Because I knew each one was going to take a hot minute to get through. And yeah, they were all, as Loke would say, meaty topics.
They were.
So, but hopefully, hopefully we see him sometime soon. I know he's doing fine. He's just getting his home infrastructure put together and whatnot. And it's going to take him some time. You know, Texas runs a little slow. That Texas tea got some. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and do our outros real quick. Cozy, go on ahead and let everybody know where they can find you. You first and foremost, ladies first.
All right, you can find me here on Friday nights, and you can find me after this getting wasted with Wise.
Fantastic, simple enough. All right, Matt, let them know. Hashtag.
You can find me at Matt Likes Games on YouTube. That's where I post videos every week. I do podcasts every week. Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern is the L3R3 podcast with myself, Hard Days Mike, and it's me, Tuan. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, it's a two-player podcast with myself and Ham Soul. And then Fridays, 4 p.m. Eastern, you can find me here on this channel for this show with these folks.
Gotcha. And Mental, go ahead and tell us what's going on with caffeine and attainment.
Yeah, you can find me at Caffeine Entertainment on YouTube. Apologies to anyone that's been actually subscribed or waiting for a next video. I haven't got one out for a few weeks, but I've got, I think, a half a dozen or so that I've got kind of partial starts on and in the works. So they'll probably come out fast and furious once I get time to do the editing and actually get them done. You can find me on X at Mental9R, PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, Mental9R. And of course, you can find me here on Fridays whenever I am so blessed as to be able to attend. So always enjoy this show. Good times. Thanks for having me once.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody being here today. I appreciate everybody in the panel, everybody in the chat. You guys keeping it alive as usual. But we are getting out of here. I'm going to go relax with the family for a little bit, and then I'm going to clock in on Dune and tell them to go to hell. It's going to be a fantastic night.
Wait, where are you clocking in?
And Dune.
Oh, Dune.
Dune Awakening. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully the schedule won't be switching up too much in the near future, but I did recently find some employment here, and I'm kind of working on getting that all scheduled and figured out so I can make it to these shows properly. But yeah, everything's going pretty good. Pretty set up in town, feeling pretty good. I need to get this room a little bit more comfortable for podcasting the way I'd like. But other than that, everything's great, and we hope to see you guys next week. Like I said, I'm not sure when Loke's going to be back, so we may or may not have a show on Monday, but on Wednesday, I'll definitely be back since I'm done with moving everything. So you'll see me back Wednesday and Friday, regardless, no matter what. Hopefully I can hopefully the person comes through this coming Thursday for Behind Them Sticks, and I can have somebody to interview that day. But if not, expect me at least on Wednesdays and Thursday. Thanks everybody for hanging tight with us. It's your boy Ham Solo signing out from TSWS Gaming, letting you know as usual to keep it gaming, keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.
See.
They said we said